Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. And we want to thank our newest Patreon, Kristen.
Thank you, Kristen.
Absolutely. It's just cold out there. I mean, it's cold. And as we see here, at least 5 deaths from hypothermia and recent continental freeze. Annual global freezing deaths are 9 times more common than global warming deaths. Yes. And in the bigger scheme of things, again, ice age, cooling. We are in an interglacial period, as we've stated many times since the beginning of this channel. So it is natural to have cycles. But what we do have going on Earth is more than natural. And that's a big part of what we are always trying to show.
It's more than natural. It's definitely, we can call it enhanced. I kind of like that word, enhanced things going on the planet where unfortunately she is exploited and taken advantage of. But, you know, it's within our power to push back. So this is what we got to do. We've been called to step up and do what we can do to bring things back to balance.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, before I forget, just to invite everybody, if you haven't checked out HEEARTS, check out HEEARTS. There is a video that we put up over there yesterday, which is one person's real life experiences, near-death experiences, where they met a being that they took to be Yeshua. And invite you to share in that. Again, that's on HEEARTS. Every link to each one of our channels, our websites, our Patreon, it's on every single video as well. So just scroll down and you'll find links taking you to everywhere. The Department of Homeland Security has threatened to take appropriate action against Texas if the state continues to block Customs and Border Protection's access to Shelby Park in Eagle Pass, according to a letter obtained by ABC News. As we watch this escalate, you know, it's all so obviously planned to so many of us. U.S. and U.K. forces can no longer pass through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. This is according to a Yemeni official. So what we have going on there is obviously an escalation. U.S. and U.K. launch strikes on El Baida province in central Yemen. We have more strikes in Yemen. That's definitely an escalation. We have Iran's Revolutionary Guard deployed in Yemen, and this is just a straight acknowledgement that this is the case. So in effect, really what we have and had happen for a long time now is lots of NATO weapons pouring into Ukraine to fight Russia directly. Fighters literally from all over the world volunteering to go into Ukraine to fight Russia directly. Many from many NATO nations. And then we had Israel do their thing, and that is still ongoing over in Gaza. And, you know, again, in many people's minds, I don't know how you could describe it anything other than what happened in NWW2. There's 2 million people in that little strip, 2 million people getting obliterated and squished into nothingness, literally, in that little strip. Obviously, these are hard times for humanity in so many different ways. And it's a slow-rolling train wreck is what we're watching.
You know, and sometimes we get on there and we watch the news just for context and see, you know, what are they saying out there. And yesterday was, I mean, to me, it was quite nauseating because the picture that they were painting this good guy, bad guy, and how could anybody, you know, be supportive of these people. And it was just such a one-sided conversation, you know, in the side that's going to assist our government, you know, help our government do what they need to do, and that's obtain more control. And not even looking at things like people are human, you know, labeling certain groups, you know, these groups are terrorists and they're horrible and there's everything wrong with them, and I can't believe anybody would take their side. And You know, I mean, just the painting, the polarity of the picture that they're painting is getting more and more grotesque to me.
It is, and it's hilarious to look at, these things that you have to go through to get something posted through official sources like YT. And, does your content contain anything that could be disturbing? Well, yeah, I mean, what the big corporations have done to the world is very disturbing. What the politicians of the world do every day is very disturbing. So here we are saying, stop all killing, stop all the murder. In so many ways that's going on in legal manners, legal according to this world. Just, we're calling on humanity to recognize the divisiveness that's going on and how they've utilized that to just keep us fighting ourselves. As you see here at The Hague today, supporting South Africa, Colombia, Brazil, Turkey, Indonesia, Malaysia, Bolivia, Nicaragua, Maldives, Venezuela, Namibia, Morocco, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Jordan, supporting Israel, Germany, and the USA. And I see that one Michelle Lynch down there tweet, it's incredible anybody could support Israel after everything they've done. Well, again, what this is that's indoctrination. And that's people that literally believe this is God's will. But they don't understand that the original word was not even God. This is just how indoctrinated the world is, and how the world doesn't understand what's going on still, unfortunately, in the highest degree. CEOs of the world's finance giants who attend the meeting included, and this is Zelensky meeting, world's leaders in Davos. Who else is in Davos? Well, Klaus is in Davos, and Yuval is in Davos. There's a lot of people meeting in Davos right now. So you have the leaders of JP Morgan Chase, BlackRock, Blackstone Group. When you look at these quote-unquote businessmen, they're bathed in blood. That's the reality, because these businesses, they invest in death. I mean, how can you put it any more simply than that? It's the military-industrial complex that makes all the money off of the pain and suffering of these conflicts, which really are just created out of nothingness. And this is what goes on for generation to generation to generation. They sell patriotism. And again, go back and look for the country of Ukraine in the 1970s. Where's the country of Ukraine in the 1970s? Where's it in the 1950s? It's not there. It didn't exist. Look for Israel. Where's the country of Israel in the 1850 maps? 1600, 1500, 1000. It didn't exist. It didn't exist. Who brought these things into being? Well, ultimately, it's the UN and the families like the Rothschilds that have blatantly said we don't care who really is on the throne. What puppet on the throne doesn't matter. The monetary system matters more than the puppets on the throne, but they all work together. This is the big reality. Klaus is currently delivering opening remarks at the WEF 24 annual meeting in Davos. It's all about rebuilding trust. It's all about controlling the narrative is what it's about. How do we corral the ones that are awake, and how do we get them to sleepwalk like the rest of the zombies on the planet? Well, they're going to have to pull off something big, but they have it planned. It's already been planned. Everything has been planned. And here we have a little video. Listen to this.
You can say that Trump might be elected again. I think it's very likely. And if
Okay, so if you missed what he said, he said, how likely do you think it is that Trump's going to get elected again?
You can say that Trump might be elected again. I think it's very likely. And if it happens, it is likely to be the kind of like the death blow to what remains of the global order.
Okay, that's really all you need to hear. So Yuval Harari, who is, again, a spokesperson for the WEF, thought to be even one of the highest levels of brain trust for the WEF, he says, well, if Trump gets elected, it's the death blow to the global order. Okay, that's pretty dang obvious. Rothschild saying Donald Trump is threatening to destroy the New World Order. The president's nationalism will destroy globalism forever. That was going back to 2017. Hasn't happened. All that's happened is we are more divided than ever. More divided than ever. You see, this is Will, and he says that's why we love him. He's a proud Christian conservative, avid Trump supporter. Again, he's sleepwalking. He's still sound asleep at the wheel. And you have to recognize, and I understand I'm speaking to the same 99% that watch us every day. So you guys, I get it, you're awake. But we're speaking to the ones that haven't. If we could get these videos out to those that still think that the WWE, WWF from my day is real, just look. Do you not think it's interesting or coincidental that you had Trump doing these things in the WWE? You had him have The Apprentice, a show, before he ends up running. It's all to bring him into the public forefront. Sure, being from Connecticut, I always heard of Trump because he was centered in New York, and of course he has his Florida thing. So many people in the Northeast do have a Florida thing if they're wealthy. Who else did he hire immediately when he got into office? He hired a Rothschild. Because he was in debt to the Rothschilds. Just listen. The political speeches or primetime WWE wrestling.
Please welcome Donald Trump.
Think of the song, Money, 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 American Dream. And I remember when he was out there at the WEF himself, and he said, meeting with Klaus. A lot of very important people there, very important people.
Why are you here? Let me put it very simply, Vince. I'm taller than you. I'm better looking than you. I think I'm stronger than you. And I'm here to challenge you to a match in WrestleMania. What?
And anybody believes, if anybody believes politics are real, it's really because you want to believe. That's the bottom line. And this is a brutally honest video. And this is just the way it has to be. So, again, we don't try to cultivate viewership for the sake of viewership or making money. And again, this is going on Evolutionary, which hasn't made a dime since 2019. And yet we still feed it. Why do we feed it? Because we still reach a little bit higher percentage of people with it. And this is the mission. It's not to make money. And again, he came into money, money, money. Battle of the billionaires. If you believe that politicians have power, then you're still sound asleep.
And just to speak a little bit further on what Mike said about belief, there's enough information out there. If anyone wants to know the truth, they can know the truth. They can accept the truth. They can take that into their world. And I know a lot of people have family members that simply do not want to see, they can't see, and they get really, really frustrated because they care about their family members and they want them to remain safe. But keep in mind that there is plenty of information. If they really wanted to know, they would know. And it's not up to us to force them in any way, even though it's very tempting because we love our family members. But your energy needs to go to yourself. You should be so busy preparing yourself, getting your world ready for those things that you know are coming. And when they are ready for the information, they'll come to you. And until then, we should let a lot of things go. It's important to share information, but when it comes to deaf ears, it seems like if you try to put that information out there and those ears are turned off, it's like tightening the lid on a mayonnaise jar trying to get it off. It's like they're going to tighten down the volume in their ears even more. So it's like pushing opposite. So this is where we're at. There's plenty of information out there. If people wanted to know the truth, they would.
Yeah, and again, it's it's a choice of choosing to stay asleep in so many ways. People, and this is something that's come through not just through our guides, but other people's too. You know, as we have some really gifted, amazing people that are people that we talk to regularly, have sessions with regularly, as far as like coaching and energy work, etc. And, you know, what one of them was sharing with us was a message from the other side, and just saying how people are not going to be able to handle. There's going to be this cognitive denial that their whole belief systems are going to be put up on their ear. And it's going to cause a lot of people to literally go crazy. They will not be able to handle the revelations that come out that completely destroy belief systems that have been in place for thousands of years, and other things that are going to come out, whether we're talking religious or political, or just, you know, believing in, as so many people do, believing that their country is the best country on the planet. Without going into detail. And, you know, again, we could have debates on which country has the best food, and you know, maybe some people say Italian, other ones Indian, other ones Mexican, you know, again, it's all kind of a little personal preference thing. And again, the biggest control systems that are the deepest embedded are the religious ones. And this is Deuteronomy 32, which is the Song of Moses. And this is the name of God's version, where they're actually splitting it up, because in your King James and in most of your versions, they'll just use Lord, 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 or God, or Lord, you know. Here they're splitting it up. And so you can see, again, in Hebrew, there's different terms used at different places. I proclaim the name of Yahweh, give our Elohim the greatness he deserves. Now, this would read, I proclaim the name of the Lord, give our Lord the greatness he deserves, if you're looking at King James. Yet, here's two totally different words that are given, and this is the way it really should read, in that it's saying that Yahweh is one of the Elohim. Give our Elohim. And what are the Elohim? Well, they're thought to be judges, mighty ones, powerful beings, etc., etc. He is a faithful El. Now, El just means God. And yet El is also the name of the chief Canaanite god. But that, again, predates Yahweh even. And so, you know, you see these terms, if you're looking at the King James, it's going to say Lord, Lord, Lord. Or God, 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 right? Depending on which version we're going to be looking at. But they're different. Why is this the case? Well, because they are different words used. And the belief system that's come in place today is not what was there originally. It has changed geopolitically, because there's a geopolitical ideology that they want to sell. And it's all about division. You know, isn't he your Ab and owner? Ah, he's your owner. Is this how you repay Yahweh? It goes on. Yahweh's people are his own property. Jacob, his own possession. That sounds like a slave master, does it not? It does sound like a slave god, yeah, for lack of a better word. So Yahweh alone led his people. No foreign god was with him. This is, again, showing you that what we're talking about, These are just beings with more abilities, and this is Psalm 82, which tells the same thing. The Elohim, mighty ones, take their place in their own assembly. And this, we see, is repeated in other mythologies, literally all around the world. All around the world, we have the same mythologies. We could find it in the Greco-Roman over here, and we can find it in the Sumerian, the Akkadian. This is just, it's clear, and it's way older because, again, when we look to the Sumerian tales, you're looking at least 1,500 to 2,500 years before anything biblical, way predating. I am the big brother of the gods. I bring prosperity to perfection. So this is Enki, and this is Enki in the world order. And here, everyone is different. So, when you're talking about, the god up on high, you're probably going to be talking about An or Anu. And you have Enlil and Enki and Demuzid, and we go into all the others. And here it talks about them. They squabble amongst themselves. They split up the planet amongst themselves. They each take their own tribe, and they do what they want with them. And then when we go and we look again to the Mahabharata, we look to the Ramayana, we look to the Puranas, they are just loaded with clear, obvious references to this being an extraterrestrial affair. And this involves many worlds, not just this world. There are many, many worlds. And it also clearly speaks of different densities or dimensions and beings that can transverse by will and technology through different dimensions and affect different densities. And technologies and weaponry that absolutely blow our minds. These councils of the gods that get together, again, when we look at things like the UN, it's really based on what's going on a cosmic level. It's similar. We see a reflection to it. The Earth itself is a remnant of Tiamat. And Tiamat was a victim of this gigantic intergalactic, interdimensional war, which was really destroyed, and just through an act of pure intent by what has become known as the Galactic Federation, which there is distortions there now too, because too many people know of the Galactic Federation. So they start to sow the seeds of doubt with, the Galactic Federation of Light, or Galactic Federation of World, or the Galactic, this and that. Again, it's all distortion. The reality is this war is still ongoing. And the weaponry that is used is mind-blowing. The technology is mind-blowing. And we see people that have these self-assembling structures with tentacles inside their bodies. Yes, it's a reality. You see Starlink, I see a Dyson Sphere already in place around our planet. Yes, there is a grid up around the planet. No, it's not that you can't get off planet because you're not going to be able to get past the Van Allen belts and live, or you're going to crash into a cement dome up there. No, nothing so silly as that. People come and go every single day from this planet. Yet there is a technological grid around it that is dulling IQs, that is interfering with people's natural ability to communicate telepathically, things like telepathy and clairvoyance, clairsentience. These are real human abilities. They're not like anything truly paranormal at all. They're natural abilities of humans. We are at war, and we are behind enemy lines. This is the bottom line. But this is a war that really is about frequency and vibration. So the way to escape this war is by raising your frequencies.
And, from what I've seen out there, people honestly believe that Elon is doing us the biggest favor in the world and somehow giving us freedom. But I can tell you from personal experience, when it comes to having this satellite right on your home, there is nothing free about it. They can control and manipulate every single move you make to a very, very high degree, and that goes with any technology in there. So sure, I mean, he's giving people conveniences, but no, he's not doing it out of his own good heart. No, he's doing it because he has an agenda. You can paint it any color you want, but ultimately it's a color controlled paint system.
Yeah, absolutely. And just think about all the swarming satellites there, and people will say the fake alien invasion and Project Bluebeam. Well, your sky today, your sky every day of your life has been a Project Bluebeam, and people don't realize that.
Mm-hmm. And, it's a mess. I look at it as just a complete mess. And I think we covered something a week ago or so, how some really famous people were going to go and their remains were going to go into outer space. And I'm thinking, well, that's where we come from. It's like, why do we have to put more junk out in outer space, for our namesake? It's like, it's just too much. The technology, it's going to crumble. It's going to crumble. It doesn't have that ability to sustain. And for us, what I like to do is I like to spend time figuring out, how can I be closer to Mother Earth? How can I blend more with that energy? And just as a lot of people have gone through this winter, we're realizing, where are we at in that ability to blend with Mother Earth? And when you go through storms and you lose your power and you lose your water, it gives you a moment to think, okay, how ready am I? What do I need to do now? And even though we cannot prepare for anything and everything, we can look at our weak spots and start working on those.
Absolutely. This is an article from back in September 2016. Researchers just found the second Dyson Sphere star because they noticed a dimming of this star, and it was like there was something, not necessarily planets going around it, but something different. And one of the conclusions that would make sense is it's perhaps a Dyson Sphere. That is, well, what's a Dyson Sphere? A Dyson Sphere is a structure that's constructed around a star to utilize the energy of the star by the inhabitants of that particular solar system. Perhaps even to move it and nudge it into different places and different locales. This star is estimated to be about the size of our sun, but has about half of its mass. And so they've noticed a irregular dimming. So it's not like it's planets that are circling it at certain regular intervals, but irregular. This is indicating technology in the minds of many of these researchers. And one of the things that would fit the bill is that of a Dyson Sphere. Which, again, we will find one of those in the Vatican. There's one on display, a piece of art donated to the Vatican of a Dyson Sphere. And everything is always hidden right out there in plain sight. It's right out there in plain sight. When the lion will lie with the lamb, or is it the wolf will lie with the lamb, a little bit of that. Yeah, a little bit of that Mandela Effect going on. It's a great question to say, is there ever a time when a lion, per se, might not be predatory, might actually lie down with a lamb without even thinking of killing it? And I do think the answer is it depends on the density. It really depends on where our frequencies are, and it depends on what we want to cultivate. So here you see a swan. What's he doing? For whatever reason, he's decided he's feeding the fish. He likes this. He wants to feed the fish. The fish love the swan because, he's showing them love. This is how you show love in the animal world there. Taking care, nurturing each other. How about this one? Now this one, in case there you go. That's how it starts. It looks like he's bringing a mouse over to eat him for dinner, but no, he's bringing him over as a dinner guest. It's really, really true. We could learn a lot from nature, and they give us a version of evolution that's given to us by a 33rd degree Mason of survival of the fittest. Darwinian evolution, survival of the fittest. You must, eat or be eaten. The reality is we have to look at how nature really truly organizes itself, and it's not survival of the fittest, it's cooperation. The cells of your body are such a great example, with trillions of different units of consciousness inside the average human body. In each cell, in each bacteria, each different item that we're talking about, each different entity is a unit of consciousness, and yet we're all one in the body itself, and the body needs to function as a unit in order to survive in a beneficial, benevolent way. And when we have cancer, again, that's when the unnatural, irregular cells start to take control, and we can't get rid of them quick enough. And really, again, cancer is all about toxicity. It's toxic overload. Cancer is toxic overload. So, the answer to that is to detox. And yet we have a world which has been purposefully toxified, as the kitty is cozying up right next to a Budweiser box. Again, this is what they sell us. Good times, good days, beer, alcohol, wine. If we're talking the wine and the alcohol, then you're talking sulfites, which are cancer causing. Are you going to have a bacon on your cheeseburger? Well, again, if you're not getting bacon that's sulfite free, there's more sulfites in there. It's going to cause more, cancer. They are sticking carrageenan and things that's causing cancer. Of course, we might have lead in our water. We could have all sorts of things in our water, fluoride and chlorine, and it goes on, and cryptosporidium. Everything about this planet has been purposefully toxified to lower life expectancy of those on the planet, so they don't live long enough lives to figure out what's really going on.
I mean, if you look at the mainstream items that people would walk into a general store and pick up, there's just a little bit of toxin in the deodorant, just a little bit of toxins in the toothpaste, just a little bit of toxins in the lotion, just a little bit of toxin in the soap. Anything that you put on your body is going to have just a little bit of toxin. So you can't tell me that this mainstream that they have put out there is not deliberately doing this to us, because you really have to go way out of your way to get something that doesn't have toxins in it.
And it's going to cost you far more because ultimately, you're going to have to really work hard to eat clean and to drink clean substances and to be healthy. It is far cheaper to just go stop and get fast food at the dollar, and that's again, billions and billions served, billions and billions die prematurely. It's just that simple.
Indeed.
So, okay, let's turn this into a positive note. Let's put out there the intention that humanity wakes up. Come join us again over at HeartsOMMM, or join Patreon, where all the videos get put up on Patreon. Again, there is a positive side to this, and it is the fact that the system is really in its last days of having a dictatorship on the planet, because the old world order and what they envision as a new world order is really the same thing. It's just one has the semblance of freedom, and the other one has no semblance of freedom at all. Yet again, they understand what they're doing. It's good cop, bad cop. It's always good cop, bad cop. But again, depends on what side of the tracks you're on. If you're in Russia, China, then the U.S. and NATO have been the bad cop, and vice versa. If you're in, Afghanistan and Iran and Iraq and Syria and Yemen, all these countries view the U.S. and NATO as the bad cop, while the citizens of the U.S. and NATO have been brought up believing that they're the good cop. But it's all the system just playing us against each other. So again, why are they putting this up there? To get people to think that a vote for Trump is a vote for the end of the system, because a vote for anything in the system is a vote for the system. And that's what the bottom line is. As long as you pick in the system, you're still going to be in the system. You're acknowledging the power of the system. So we have to choose not to choose the system.
Indeed. And I got to say, over on that HeartZone video we did yesterday, there is some really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful nuggets of wisdom and information that is really going to lift everybody's spirits. It's just really a wonderful video. I hope you guys go over there and check it out and enjoy it.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.